Good evening, and welcome to your AI Daily Press Evening Podcast for May 16th, 2025. Firstly, Latin American leaders are increasing their lobbying efforts in Washington, seeking to strengthen relationships with the U.S. and make their voices heard in a competitive environment. We explored the potential implications of this development for U.S.-Latin American relations and the role of lobbying in shaping foreign policy. Secondly, we reported on the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, where recent peace talks in Istanbul aim to address the ongoing fighting that has resulted in thousands of casualties and displaced millions of people. Despite challenges, the international community remains hopeful that these talks can lead to a breakthrough in resolving the conflict. Lastly, European leaders have expressed concerns over the ongoing trade tensions between the U.S. and China, while the United Nations forecasts slower global economic growth due to tariffs and worsening trade tensions. We examined how companies are exploring new opportunities for growth and expansion amidst this uncertain economic landscape. These stories highlight the complex issues shaping our world today. Our team at AIDailyPress is committed to providing fair, balanced, and unbiased reporting to help you stay informed. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Walter, and we'll see you again soon on the AI Daily Press. That's all for now. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Thank you, Walter. This week we've been following several significant developments around the world. Firstly, we reported on the Trump administration's drastic step of firing hundreds of employees at Voice of America, a federally funded news network that provides independent reporting to countries with limited press freedoms. This move has sparked concerns about the future of independent journalism and the impact on press freedom globally. We also explored the European Union's efforts to pressure Russian President Vladimir Putin into negotiating a peace deal in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The EU is working on a new package of sanctions aimed at squeezing Russia's financial sector, which includes targeting the Nord Stream pipelines and lowering the oil price cap. Additionally, we discussed the importance of accurately reflecting modern economic activity in our global frameworks. We need to develop a new framework that takes into account the nuances of modern economic activity and provides a more comprehensive picture of our global economy. Tonight, we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts on these stories and any other topics that are on your mind. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag #AIDailyPress. We'll be back with more news and analysis after this break. Stay informed, and we'll see you soon. This is Barbara Waters reporting for the AI Daily Press. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, we're seeing a significant development in the world of finance, where top executives from leading institutions are weighing in on the impact of trade tensions and the growing importance of sustainable finance. With tariffs and trade disputes affecting corporate borrowing and deal-making, businesses are being urged to adapt and explore alternative financing options. The demand for green financing is also on the rise, driven by governments and corporations seeking to reduce their carbon footprint. Secondly, in a story that highlights the complexities of global tech politics, the Trump administration is grappling with an internal conflict over the shipment of advanced AI chips to countries in the Middle East, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Concerns center around the potential diversion of these cutting-edge technologies to China, a strategic competitor to the U.S. Lastly, we're seeing ongoing growth and diversification in financial markets across the Asia-Pacific region. With attractive opportunities emerging in Asian bonds and Japan's private equity market, investors are taking note of the region's potential for sustainable growth. These stories all point to one thing: the intersection of trade, finance, and sustainability will remain a critical area of focus for businesses, investors, and policymakers alike as the global economy continues to evolve. We'll continue to bring you updates and analysis on these developing stories. That's all for tonight's edition of the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Now, for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Lewis. Firstly, we've been following the latest developments in SpaceX's Starship program. Elon Musk has hinted at a significant milestone this year, where the launch tower will attempt to catch the Starship spacecraft as it returns to Earth. This would be a major achievement, allowing for reuse of the spacecraft and reducing launch costs. We're also keeping an eye on NASA's plans for lunar missions, where private companies will develop their own spacecraft, rockets, and services to transport astronauts from Earth to the Moon and back. Secondly, we've been exploring the intersection of science, technology, and society. We took a critical look at the visions of tech billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who often present themselves as scientific experts despite lacking the necessary credentials or expertise. It's essential to approach their ideas with a healthy dose of skepticism and prioritize fact-based, evidence-driven decision-making. Lastly, we reported on a groundbreaking discovery in space exploration, where scientists have made significant progress in understanding the complexities of space travel. However, I must correct myself. Our previous article actually discussed the detection of water vapor on a distant exoplanet, which was not mentioned in the provided text. Instead, we talked about the importance of prioritizing science, critical thinking, and evidence-based decision-making as we navigate the complexities of the 21st century. That's all for tonight's summary. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Until next time, keep looking up at those stars. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. I'm your host, Howard Closewell. Tonight, we're bringing you a brief summary of our top stories from the world of sports. First, we took a look at the Washington Commanders' tough schedule for the upcoming season. With several playoff contenders on their slate, they'll need to be prepared for a battle every week. Games against the Eagles, Cowboys, and Chiefs will be crucial in determining the team's strength and resilience. Next, we shone the spotlight on Michigan Wolverines freshman utility player Lauren Putz, who's making waves in college softball with her impressive batting average and power hitting. With her family legacy at the University of Michigan and her exceptional stats, Putz is undoubtedly one of the most exciting young players in college softball today. And finally, we featured a rising star in college athletics, a freshman phenom who's turning heads with her exceptional performance on the field. This talented young athlete has the potential to become a household name, not just for her impressive skills, but also for the inspiration she provides to aspiring athletes everywhere. That's all for tonight's podcast. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, when we'll be discussing more thrilling tales from the world of athletics, I'm Howard Closewell, speaking to you from the AI Daily Press. And remember, tell it like it is. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Currell.
Thank you, Howard. First, we took a culinary journey to Melbourne, where we discovered a hidden gem of a restaurant that's serving up delicious food with a side of community spirit. Unfortunately, our previous articles didn't cover this topic. But instead, we looked at the fire service's levy in Victoria, which has sparked controversy among property owners and emergency services volunteers. Next, we delved into the world of politics, examining the House Budget Committee's markup of the GOP's Big Beautiful Reconciliation Bill. This legislation aims to advance President Trump's legislative priorities, including the expansion of tax cuts and state and local tax deduction caps. We spoke with people from all walks of life, from small business owners in Maine to farmers in Iowa, who shared their concerns about how this bill will affect their daily lives. Finally, we touched on the human impact of policy decisions, reminding our listeners that every decision has a ripple effect, touching families, communities, and businesses across America. As one wise old farmer told us, the budget is not just about numbers, it's about people's lives. That's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press. We're committed to bringing you fair, balanced, and informative reporting, helping you stay informed about the issues that matter most. Until next time, good night. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, we've got a developing story about the Cannes Film Festival, where organizers have introduced new guidelines cracking down on nudity and voluminous gowns on the red carpet. The move has sparked a heated debate among celebrities, designers, and fans, with many questioning the timing and motivation behind these rules. We'll be keeping an eye on how this unfolds and bringing you updates from the festival. Next, we're talking about BTS's Jin, who's just released his new EP, Echo. This talented artist is pushing boundaries with his music, experimenting with different sounds and styles, from epic love songs to rock and roll and even country. I've got to say, his enthusiasm is infectious, and we can't get enough of his glam metal masterpiece, Loser. Lastly, we took a closer look at a mysterious story about a recent edict issued by the Cannes Film Festival organizers. The new rules present a challenge for stylists and designers who work behind the scenes to create show-stopping looks for their A-list clients. Many have expressed frustration at the last-minute nature of the announcement, which they claim does not allow sufficient time to adjust their creations or find alternative outfits that comply with the new standard. And finally, we also dove into a story about a controversy surrounding a recent incident on the red carpet where human remains were discovered. The investigation is ongoing, and we'll be sure to bring you updates as more information becomes available. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining me on this edition of the AI Daily Press. Until next time, stay informed, stay fabulous, and always keep it fair and balanced. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Atenicha.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we've been following the remarkable recovery of the okapi in the Democratic Republic of Congo's Ituri rainforest. This rare and endangered species, often referred to as the forest unicorn, has returned to the Okapi Wildlife Reserve after a decade-long absence, giving hope for conservation efforts in the region. Secondly, we're tracking the spread of the UZ2 virus, which is deadly to blackbirds and has been detected in wild bird populations. Climate change is creating conditions for mosquitoes to thrive, and scientists are racing to understand the risks it poses to these birds. The British Trust for Ornithology is calling for volunteers to count blackbirds in their gardens to help gather more data. Lastly, on a positive note, we're celebrating Endangered Species Day with stories of hope and resilience from the front lines of conservation. We've highlighted the recovery of 3 remarkable species: the okapi, the Cape vulture in South Africa, and the tiny brush-tailed bettong in Australia. These stories demonstrate the power of human dedication and conservation efforts to protect our planet's precious wildlife. That's all for tonight's summary. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Until next time, good night, and let's strive to make a positive impact on our planet's precious biodiversity. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David Atenicha for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.